Hi guys, tis I, the Frenchiest French fry, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about 4 weird things my husband and I did while we were dating that helped us when we got married. Hey guys! Okay, so number 1. The weirdest thing that I think that we did while we were dating is that we did a define the relationship talk on our first date. Wow. So yeah, my husband and I, when we were on our first date, he asked me about timelines, which is my second weird thing that we did that totally helped us when we were dating. My husband brought up okay, what's a good timeline for where we are now to where we would be when we get married, if we wanted to get whatever. So during that time, I was talking about, okay, well, we, in the process of getting to know each other, after we've been dating a while, we'll probably do a DTR, or a define the relationship talk. And he's like, well, why don't we do one now? I was like, okay, weirdo, sure, why don't we do a define the relationship talk? So in our define the relationship talk, we talked about what we wanted out of a relationship, the big criteria. What do we want? We eventually both want to get married. And then we went into the number 2 weird thing that we did was we talked about a timeline. He was like, okay, well, what's your timeline? When would you want to get married? When would you want to get engaged to? Right? When would you want to be proposed to? When would you want to, X, Y, Z? So I'm like, okay, so here's my timeline. So I said, I would want to be dating for 4 weeks or 4 dates, something like that, before we decide whether or not we want to be boyfriend and girlfriend. And then I want to, I'd want to date for 6 months. And then I would want to be engaged for 6 months and get married at the end of that 6 months. And he followed that, guys. He did a great job. He totally followed it. Except he did give me heart failure, actually. He didn't ask me to be his girlfriend until 5 weeks, not 4 weeks. So there was a week that I was like, dude, bro does not want to be with me. It's weird. And there were some other weird things that happened too that made me question his commitment. But we're here. I'm married to him, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so the number third weird thing that we did is that we had 103 questions that we went through when we talked about when we were dating and engaged. Essentially, how this all started and how we got to 302 questions. You guys have to understand, I married an engineer, okay? I married an engineer. And he wanted to know everything there is to know about me. So he started peppering in questions into our dates. And I'm like, where the heck did this question come from? So I asked him, about, the 3rd time this happened, I was like, where are these questions coming from? He's asking me, very pointed, specific questions. And I was very confused. So I'm like, dude, where are these questions coming from? And he's like, oh, well, I have this list of questions that I want to ask you. Before we get married, I want to see if we're compatible. I want us to, I want to have these questions answered. And what better time than while we're dating? And I did not want to be outdone. So I was like, well, I have questions too, buddy. And so that leads to the number 4 weird thing that we did, which is we had a spreadsheet for everything. We were long distance dating, which is what we were doing. We were long distance dating, and it was really, really funny because the first spreadsheet that we did was dates, types of dates that we would want to do. And he asked me, he was like, oh, Well, I had this list, and he sent it to me so that I was invited to be a part of the Google spreadsheet for this list of dates, and I got very excited. So I came up with like a ton of date ideas. They include things like falconry and ziplining and going down like an alpine slide. I don't know if you guys know what an alpine slide is, but going down an alpine slide and things like that. Paintballing, which we still haven't done. We still haven't done falconry either, which I feel like we need to, but you can't get every squirrel up every tree, bros. You just can't. Well, anyway, so he said that he had all these questions, and I said that I had questions too. So he invited me to a Google Doc where we put all of our questions on there. And then we had a corresponding spreadsheet where we could mark off each question as we got down to it. So he had 160 questions. I had about 140, and we put them together, and we had 302 questions that we answered over the course of our dating to get to know one another better. And the beauty of it is that when we went through premarital counseling with our pastor at the time, it was easy. He was like, oh, have you guys gone over finances? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Have you guys gone over like how many kids and how you raise them? Yeah, 2 months ago. Like, we had this all done. It was done. It was like, we were ready, bros. Like, we were ready. It was great. So those are weird things, and maybe you can implement them, maybe you can't. I don't know your life, but these are things that helped us. So maybe they'll help you. I don't know. And if you guys want me to post those 302 questions as like an ebook or something, I can go ahead and do that. Okay, love you guys. Talk to you later. Okay, bye.